Hi lovelies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Maria and today's video is going to be a do bookish things with me video. So I don't think I've done one for a couple of months, but I do have a few bookish things that I want to get done this week. So first things first, we will be doing some book shopping as always. I always have to add a little book shopping trip into these videos. I mean, I basically go every week, so I might as well add one of them into these videos for you to enjoy. So I will be inserting some footage from that book shopping trip and then we'll go through the books that I ended up picking up. But a couple of other things I do want to get done is firstly, I want to do a bit of an unhaul. I do have a few books that I've read over the past couple of months that I'm not really interested in keeping. They're just books that I maybe enjoyed, maybe not enjoyed, but for the most part they're just not books that I'm going to reread or books that I felt were special enough to keep in my collection. I may go through my bookshelves and just see if there's anything I do want to cull because as always I very fast become lost for space and I'm getting there very quickly again, so I do need to look through my shelves and just see is there anything I can be a little bit more ruthless with and get rid of and cull from my shelves. I do also want to update my reading journal. At the moment I've only got up until May completed, so I may try and do a little bit of that. Probably not today, I may do that tomorrow, but I do want to try and get up to date with that, at least up to date as much as I possibly can. But I would love to get up to my August spread done so that I can be fully up to date with that. So I need to do a couple of pages for May, then I need to do June and July as well, so that's quite a few spreads that need to be done, but I can usually do them quite quickly. So depending on what time I have tomorrow, I will do a few updates and try and get as up to date in that as possible and maybe give you a bit of a run through because I don't think I've shown that since the start of the year when I first started it, so I can maybe give you a bit of an update on where I am with that. Then another thing I want to do is look at my TBR cart and swap out some of the more summery books for some of my more wintry, dark academia, spooky season books, because the next TBR I will be doing is for my September reads and I know I'm not going to want to pick a lot of summery reads, so I will be doing that today as well. And then other than that, I'm not really sure if there's anything else bookish that I can add in here. I'll definitely let you know, but those are the four things that I kind of have on my agenda to get done this week. So I will be starting with the book shopping because I have already done that, so I'll just pop in the footage I got when I went book shopping the other day and then we'll be back here and I'll talk through the books that I ended up picking up. Okay, so I did actually go in on that book shopping trip with the intention of picking up a book that I wanted to collect. You couldn't get this online anymore. I'm not sure if there's going to be updated stock or anything, but it's a book that I've heard some great things about and it is going to be a fairy loot pick, I believe, but I haven't loved a lot of the fairy loot editions this year in comparison to kind of the standard edition, so I didn't really want to take the chance when this edition is so beautiful. But the book that I'm talking about is Steelborn and this is by Taylor J. LaRue. And firstly, this cover is just stunning. I really love the standard cover for this one. And I've just seen a lot of really good reviews for this one. I've seen a few people reading this and saying it gave them the same vibes as Throne of Glass and gave them those same feelings when reading that. And I think recently I've really been struggling to connect to a romantasy and get that same kind of giddy feeling that I used to get with romantasy. And I genuinely do think it's probably a bit of a me problem. I'm maybe just picking up the wrong books, but I'm hoping this could be the one to kind of reignite that love for the romantasy genre. So as I say, a lot of people say it's kind of similar to Throne of Glass in some way. I don't know whether that's in vibes or in plot, but the blurb says, enter a world ruled by tyrants and thieves where magic is outlawed, revolution brews, and desire is dangerous. Rhea Connery is the Crimson Dagger, Rotara's most notorious thief, but when a heist goes wrong on the eve of clearing her debt to a brutal crime lord, she finds herself in need of coin fast. So I can kind of already see where the Throne of Glass comparisons are coming from here. Enter Kaelin Halcyon, an immortal warrior cursed to die. It's just one person reckless enough to seek the fabled cure in time to save his life. The Crimson Dagger. Kaelin loathes everything the beautiful, cocky thief represents, yet she's his last hope for survival. Their uneasy alliance takes them to the edge of the unknown world, where Rhea discovers there's far more at stake than she ever imagined. To save him and herself, she must confront deadly foes, the race she's tried to bury, and her growing attraction to an immortal more lethal than her blade. If she fails, the fate of all magic hangs in the balance. So it definitely sounds like something I could really enjoy if it's done well. I've heard the writing in here is really great, and yeah, I just absolutely love this cover. But the main thing I really loved about this Waterstones edition is these edges. I mean, they're absolutely stunning. I'm eagerly anticipating the Firelight one to see how they could possibly do better than this, because Waterstones really stepped up their game with this one. And then we do have some art on the reversible dust jacket, so some character art in there, and again it's just getting me really excited for this read. Some beautiful foiling on the hardcover as well, and then we do have some art on the end pages, and I believe the back is slightly different as well. Yeah, we've got some different art on there as well. And yeah, I'm just not sure Firelight's going to be able to do a better job than this, so I really didn't want to miss out on this edition in case I end up absolutely loving this one. So I'm going to try and read this really soon, and then once I get the Firelight edition I can decide which one I want to keep. And then a couple of other books I didn't intend on picking up, but I seen them when I was in there. It's firstly The Bright Years by Sarah DeMoff. I've heard nothing but great things about this one, and for some reason I never saw the hardback edition when I was in Waterstones or anything, so I'm not sure if we got it in the UK, but finally seen this coming out in paperback, so decided to pick up a copy. It's a book that I've really wanted to read for a while. I think this is kind of a family drama. I think we're following a mother and a son, and it's around addiction or something like that. And yeah, I just thought this is really emotionally devastating. The writing's really beautiful, so definitely one I wanted to get on my list. And then lastly is a bit of a outlier for me, a bit of a impulse buy, but it's The Magician's Guild by Trudy Canavan. And the reason I picked this up is because recently I've been really seeking some of the more older series, because for some reason I'm just connecting with them more. And I think this one was published in the really early 2000s, like 2004 I think, going by this edition. So this is quite an older series, and I've just been craving some of the feelings that I get with the kind of more nostalgic fantasy for me. And when I looked up some generic reviews for this one, it sounded like it could be something that I really love. So I think in this one we've got a young girl who is an orphan, I believe. I think she's a bit of a street girl, and essentially in this world I think if you have any magic you're supposed to be within this Magician's Guild, and you're supposed to be kind of trained and monitored, I'd imagine. And basically one day something happens where her magic is unveiled, and I'm not sure if she ends up joining the guild or if she's on the run from the guild, but I believe we're just following her journey along as she kind of battles that and tackles that. So really intrigued to read this, and I actually just seen recently back in the books read the first one and really enjoyed it, and I tend to have a pretty similar opinion to her in terms of some of these more fantastical reads, so glad I ended up picking this one up, and here's hoping I get that kind of nostalgic fantasy feeling with this one when I do. So yeah, those are the 3 books I ended up picking up. Really excited to dive into all of them, and really hoping they ignite my love for some of the more fantasy side of things as well. And yeah, Bright Years is one I've just heard quite a lot about, so I'll be really excited to pick that one up when I'm looking for a bit of a palette cleanser from my fantasy reads. So not sure what I'm going to do next. It may be my TBR cart, or I may go through my unhauls, but I do need to go through my shelves to see if there's anything else I want to unhaul before I do that. So either way, I'll be passing you over to future me to go through whatever it is I end up doing next. Okay, so next up I'm going to go through my TBR cart, and quite honestly I'm just in the mood to do a good refresh on here. I'm still interested in all the books I have, but I feel like some of these have been veterans on here for a really long time, and I just need a bit of a refresh for the next few months. But mainly I just want to take off any that are kind of a bit more spring-like to me, or a bit more summery, because I know I'm not going to pick them in the next few months for my TBRs. So I'll go through what I'm taking off. I'm not going to go into the synopsis or anything because we will be here forever, but starting with the top shelf, I will take off Fallen Stars by Amani Eriu. read this is a romantasy series and a book that I did want to read this year. I think it may have been in my 26 for 2026, but I just found out that the third book isn't coming out until next March, so it's quite a while until I need to read this one. So I might read it in January or something like that, but it's definitely not my priority for the next few months. Next up, I've got Fairy Guild by Mia Cortland, and this one I was really excited about, but I've seen a few reviews recently that have really put me off it, so I don't think I'm going to pick this up anytime soon. I may still read it. I did get this second hand, so I got it quite cheaply, but it's not as high on my priority list as it was when I initially got it, so I'm going to take this off for now. I have Never Ever After by Tulips and Tales, and I think the second book in this does come out later this year, so I'll probably keep this on here for now. I was going to take it off because it does look quite summery, but I think the next one comes out in like October, so maybe I will binge those when that one comes out, and I do love Tulips and Tales writing. Next two I'm still interested in. I do have a short story collection by Cassandra Clare in the Shadowhunter world. I am doing a reread of the kind of entire series of this one, so I think I might take this off the TBR card because I'll probably read this when it comes to that time. We're still only on the kind of second trilogy, so it's going to take me a while before I'm ready to read these. So yeah, I'll take this off the TBR because it's definitely not priority for me at the moment. Same with The Floating World by Axio. I am purely basing this on the cover and kind of the art that I see in here, but I just think this is going to be more of a spring summer book for me, so I'm going to take it off for now. So that obviously gives us quite a lot of room there. The rest of those I do want to keep on. I'm just going to check the back books to see what is in here. So I do have The Names by Florence Knapp, and I do want to read this. I don't know if it's priority for me, so I think I'll take it off for now, but I will have it in the back of my mind as one that I may pick up if I'm looking for a bit more of a literary fiction. And then I do have Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen, and I think I am going to take this one off for now, only because I do have Silvercloak by the same author already on the TBR, and I think between the two, Silvercloak is probably the one that I'm going to pick up first, so I'll take this one off as well. Good if I showed you the cover so that I have just one on there, the one that I'm more likely to pick up. I do also have The Last Starborn Seer by Phoenicia Constantine, and I've heard this is a really wintry book, so I think I'll take it off for now, but with it in the back of my mind, maybe put it back on for December, January, February. But I usually do a reshuffle kind of every quarter, so I'll try to put this back on for the winter season, but I think for spooky season and autumn, I will take it off for now. Then the last one I have on there is The Wrath of the Fallen by Amber V. Nicole. This is continuing her Gods and Monsters series, and the next book does come out in this in, I think it's October as well, so I am going to keep that on there because I would like to binge those when that comes out, so I'll be keeping this on for the autumn season. So we got rid of quite a few on that top shelf. I think I had quite a few kind of more summery reads on there. Looking at this next shelf, there's not as many that I want to take off. I think the first one that I see here is Psyche and Eros. This is a Greek mythology retelling, and for no particular reason, in my head, spring and summer is more of a Greek mythology retelling kind of season for me, so I'm going to take this off for now. So is that wheeled away. I then have A Magic Steeped in Poison, Tom Lake, and 100 Years of Solitude. Again, I am still interested in these, but I just don't think I'm going to be reaching for these over the next couple of months. My pile here is getting really big. This one's on there I think I'm still interested in. This bottom shelf, I've got The Ministry of Time. Again, one I'm interested in, but just not a priority. I've then got Blood in the Mist. I was supposed to read this in spring and summer and just didn't quite get there, so I think I'll keep that for next year. Then I've got Six Crimson Cranes. Again, one I think I'll read in spring, summer. The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Parry. I definitely want to read this, but I have a couple of other H.G. Parry books that I think are more suited for autumn and winter, so I'm going to take this off, but I will be replacing them with some other books. And then I've got 10 Minutes and 38 Seconds in This Strange World, which is a literary fiction by Elif Shafak. I've read another book by this author before and absolutely adored it. This one isn't a priority for me right now, so that's the only reason I'm taking this off, but I'm definitely really intrigued by this one. So that's all the books at the front. I'm just going to turn this around slightly so that I can see any of the books I've got piled on the back. I've got Wicked Onyx by Debbie Cassidy. This was a bit of an impulse buy because I really liked the edition. It's probably not a priority for me, so I'm going to take it off for now, even though I do think this would suit the spooky season. I think this might be a dark academia. Scratch that. I'm going to keep this on. I think it's going to be perfect for spooky season, so I'll keep it on just in case I do pick it up. Again, I've got The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I think I'm going to keep this on because I think this would be a fun palette cleanser for the spooky season. I've got another novella from Cassandra Clare, so again, I'm going to take this off because I think I'll read this when I've caught up in the series. I've got Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, and I do really want to read this, but not sure if it's really a priority for me right now, so I think I'll take this off as well. Then I've got King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, and am I going to read this over spooky season? I think I'll take this off. I do want to finish this because it will complete the Grisha verse for me, but it's just not a priority right now. I've got Cleopatra by Sarah L. Arifi, and again, I just don't think I'm going to read this over the next couple of months, so I'm going to take it off. Then the other two I do want to keep on here, so I'll move those to the front. So yeah, our paperback shelves are still a little bit stacked, but we do have a bit of room to add some different ones on there. For this bottom one, looking at the books I have on there. There's none I really want to take off. I think I did put most of those on there with the idea of reading them around spooky season, so I'm going to leave that bottom shelf as it is at the back. So now that my TBR cart looks well and truly messed up, I need to pick out some books that I do want to add on here as priority for the autumn season, and I need to put these books back on my main TBR shelf. So I'm going to have a look through my TBR, probably look at some of my recently hauled books because I know I'll be most excited about those as well, and see what I want to add on the cart for the next couple of months. Okay, so I've pulled quite a lot off my TBR shelves and I'm not quite sure if they're going to fit on the TBR cart, but we'll see what we can fit on there and if we want to swap anything out for the ones that I've pulled off. But first one I've got is The Silence Factory by Bridget Collins. She tends to write quite gothic, kind of thrillery stories, so I think this would be perfect for the season. I've got The Nightblood Prince by Molly X. Chang, Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio, Multitude of Dreams by Mara Rutherford. This is one that I have had for a couple of years now on my TBR and I think it would be perfect for spooky season. Just need to try and make sure I prioritise it. This is one I haven't heard anyone talking about, but The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. It's about seances. Spooky season is the perfect time. Songbird of the Sorrows by Brady Otto, and I've only heard one creator talking about this one, but she really loved it and she really said that the writing was quite lyrical and beautiful, so sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. I think this one is a bit of an old booktube darling, and that's The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. It's one of the first books I bought when I was first getting back into reading and just haven't picked it up for some reason, but I think this is kind of about a witchy kind of spooky town where there's a bit of a haunting every year, and I just think that spooky season is the perfect time to pick this up, so need to get it on that TBR. I've got Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. I think this is a dark academia, or at least there's an academy setting or something like that, so again perfect for the season. I've got A Queen Crowned in Flames by Hazel McBride. This is the second book to her A Fate, Fortune and Fire series, so I just want to make sure I have this on here so that I get to the sequel sooner rather than later, so that I don't forget everything that happened in the first book. Then lastly for the hardbacks, I've got the first book in the Gilded Wolves series. This is by Roshani Chokshi and I'm hoping to binge this series over the next few months, so again getting the first book on there so that I remember to pick it up. And then I do have quite a few paperbacks on there as well, so I've got The Luminaries, and this is by Susan Dennard. This has been on my TBR for way too long. If I don't read it this year, I'm unhauling the series. I have all of the Waterstones pretty paperbacks of these ones, but I actually need to read it. It's great that they look good, but I need to read this. I then have 12th Night by Alexine Farrell Foulmouth, but that is actually a pen name for Olivia Blake, one of my absolute favourites. I think this is going to be a good kind of palette cleanser, and I have just ordered the Illumicrate edition because it was really pretty and it was half price. It was like £10 or something like that, so I couldn't pass it up, but I do need to read it to make sure it's something I like. I think this is YA romance. I have faith in Olivia Blake that I'm probably going to love everything that she writes. I then have Half City by Kate Golden. I just think this is going to be perfect again for spooky season. I believe it has an academy setting. I think it's kind of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer-esque story set in an academy. So again, these next few months is just the best time to read this. I then have one that's by a local author called Laura McLaughlin, and this is The Many Ghosts of Donahue and Burdens, and I think this is just kind of a cozy, almost ghosty story set in like a haunted B&B. Something like that. Sounds like it would be perfect. I recently picked this up. It's The Trident and the Pearl by Sarah K.L. Wilson. I think this is a romantasy. I think it is a standalone, and I've just heard that the writing is really lyrical. It may be a series. I'm not too sure actually. I need to look into that. But either way, it's forefront of my mind, so I want to get it on the cart. Wild Huntress by Emily Lloyd Jones. I know a lot of her books are around Welsh mythology, and obviously this one I think is on the wild hunt. Definitely an author I've loved before, so excited to pick this up. And then we get to one of the H.G. Parrys, and that's The Witch Below the Dreaming Wood. This is World War II, Arthurian legend inspired, and our main character is a librarian, so say no more. Speaking of H.G. Parry, I do have A Far Better Thing, and this is, I think, almost like a retelling of A Tale of Two Cities or something like that. I think it's set in the French Revolution, something like that anyway. It's written by H.G. Parry. Sounds like it's going to be a kind of gothic retelling of that time, and that's all I really need to know. I've got The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bovalino. This is one of her YA novels. I think this is a book about books. I think there's basically this cursed book that brings this devil or demon into this town, and two people are trying to stop it. So perfect for spooky season. I've got Piranesi by by Susanna Clarke, and honestly the only reason I'm reading this is because I know I'm getting an edition of this from the Broken Binding and I want to make sure it's something that I like. It's also a short book, so always a good one to get on the TBR to kind of be a bit of a palate cleanser, although I think this one is a bit confusing when you read it, so interested to see how I feel about this one. And then we're finally down to the last few. I've got Salt and Broom, and this is by Sharon Lynn Fisher. This was actually a recommendation last year by one of you guys, and essentially it's a witchy JNR retelling. Say no more. I've got Lost in the Garden by Adam S. Leslie, and I think this is going to be a bit of a spooky horror story. I think it's quite folkloric, like an old wives' tale it says on here. So definitely want to get this on the TBR over the next couple of months. Haven't heard anyone talking about this one, but it always really intrigued me when I seen it in Waterstone, so hopefully it'll be something I enjoy. And then the last one I've got here is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. I really liked Anathema or Anathema, whatever way you want to say it, by Carrie Lake, and I think this is set in an academy. I think it's a professor-student love story, bit of a dark fantasy, dark romantasy. So again, just the perfect type of mood for the upcoming season. So I just have to work out if all of these are going to fit on the TBR cart, so I'm going to try and put some of them on and see how we get on with them. So they literally just fit on the TBR cart there. I did have to take off The Wrath of the Fallen by Amphorphina Cole. This is quite chunky, and I'm going to put this with my 26 for 2026 pile, just so that I don't forget about it, but I don't think I'm going to. It's definitely one that's on my anticipated reads list, but really glad to have had a little bit of a shuffle up on here. I'm really re-energized with the picks that I have now, and definitely think I'll be more excited when I'm picking my TBR now, because I'm really excited about all of these books. So even though we're only just into August, I'm already excited to pick my September TBR. So I think that's probably all I'm going to have time to do today. I think tomorrow I'll come back on and do a bit of an unhaul with you. I've got a few books, but I may look through my shelves again just to see if there's anything else I want to be picking up for an unhaul. And then we'll probably finish off with some of those reading journal updates and see how far I can get into updating that journal. As I say, I'm only on the kind of cover page for May, so I've got quite a way to go to get up to August, but we'll see what we can get done. Hi lovelies, so it's now the next day and I did want to go through some of my unhauls with you. So I don't have a huge pile, but I do have a couple of books to go through here with you. So the first few books are actually a series, and it's the Serpent and Dove series by Shelby Mahoran, and I'm not getting rid of these because I didn't love this series. I absolutely adore this series. Seemed to be a bit of a Marmite series in terms of people's enjoyment of it, but I absolutely loved it. So the first book is Serpent and Dove. Then we've got Blood and Honey, and then Gods and Monsters, and I really loved this when I read it, and I am only getting rid of these because I may have some special editions that'll be in my next book haul. I actually meant to put them in the last book haul that I just put up, but completely forgot about them because they are on my shelves, but I'll be showing them in my next book haul. So I ended up getting some special editions of these, so I'm going to pass up on my paperback editions, and I'll probably just donate these to the library. They are pretty creased on the spine, they are quite stiff, these versions, so I'll probably just donate these to the library or something so that they can get use of them. But yeah, I don't need the paperback editions now that I have the special edition, so I'm going to be getting rid of these. Then the next one I have is A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. I had this in a recent reading vlog and I ended up DNFing it. I just didn't like it. There was a couple of themes in there that were just a bit problematic to me, and I just wasn't really that invested, and I really love this Friday edition. So if there is someone out there that really loved this book, I'm sure they'll be happy to get this copy to have on their shelves, because it is really, really stunning. It's got some really beautiful art on there, some really beautiful sprayed edges. There's a really beautiful hardcover on there as well. I'll just let you see that a bit better. Then there was some artwork in this one as well. They used to send you artwork all the time. So really beautiful edition. Unfortunately, I just didn't like the story in here, so gotta be passing this along. I then have a copy of Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross, and there was nothing wrong with this. It was just a bit of a mid book for me. It's not a book that really spoke to my soul or anything like some of her other books. So not one I think I need to keep on my shelves. And again, I'll probably just donate this to the library or something. It's in really good condition, but I think it would just be a great addition to their YA section because this is a YA book. But yeah, just not one that I absolutely loved. Then the last one on the kind of definite unhaul pile is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otesha Moshfegh. Again, I read this in a recent vlog and I liked it. I thought it was entertaining enough, but just didn't love it. Not one that I'm going to really be referencing or anything, so no point in keeping this on my shelves. I'm never going to reread it, never really going to reference it, so trying to be ruthless and getting rid of books I know I'm never going to touch again. Now I do have a couple of things that are on my kind of probation unhaul pile. The first one is this set of the Legacy series by Melissa K. Roerich. I'm actually reading the fourth book at the minute, so it's somewhere around here. I don't know where it is, but the entire set. Reason being, I've read this series, as I say, I'm on the fourth book now, and it's just okay. It's nothing really that exciting for me. I haven't absolutely loved it. Not really that connected to the main characters. I do like some of the side characters, but I just didn't love this as much as I wanted to, and I'm sure there's people out there that absolutely adore this series who would love to get the indie versions, even though I think the traditionally published versions are pretty similar. I think they look the same, but I know there's a lot of people would like to get their hands on the indie editions, and yeah, I just didn't love this one. I think conceptually this series was really good. I really really loved the world that was being built there. I like the idea of this story, but the way it's been executed just isn't for me. So these are on probation. I'm going to finish the 4th book just in case for some reason it suddenly makes this a 5-star series, but pretty sure these will probably be gone in the unhaul pile pretty soon. And then lastly, I do have these beautiful editions of the Remnant Chronicles. So it starts with The Kiss of Deception, then we have The Heart of Betrayal, then Beauty of Darkness. I've got all 3 books in the series. These are the Fairy Loot editions. Absolutely beautiful editions, but when I read this series, I've read the first 2, and quite honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to read the 3rd book. I'm not that enticed to read the 3rd book. I haven't absolutely loved this. I liked the first book. It was like 4-star. The 2nd book was like a 3-star. So I'm holding off until I read the 3rd book because it could have just been middle book syndrome or something like that. I just haven't felt as invested in the series as I thought I was going to when I ordered these editions. So again, may try and read the 3rd book before I do unhaul these, but pretty sure these are going to be on the same pile pretty soon. So yeah, that's everything I have in the unhaul pile at the moment. I am going to go through my shelves again, and I'm probably going to go through my TBR as well to see if there's anything else I want to be unhauling, but that's going to be a job for another day. So next up, I'll probably get on to my reading journal and see how much I can get done of that. Okay, so I'm just about to sit down and do a few book journal spreads. So I did actually just sit down and do May because I just got up to the cover letter in May. So I think just looking at time, I'm probably only going to have time to maybe get June done, but we'll see. I think I have about an hour, so I'll see how much I can get done in that time. And then basically we'll just go through and I'll maybe give you a quick run through, hopefully the half-year run through. Obviously I'm hoping to get up to August. I'll probably have to do that over the next week or something like that, and hopefully I'll get up to date. But yeah, I think I'll basically just do another spread now, then we'll do a quick run through. I'll show you what I've done in the journal so far, and yeah, we'll see how much I can get done in this next hour. Okay, so just to give you a quick run through, this is the title page of the journal. So I'll just go through all of the spreads that I've got here because, as I say, it's been quite a while since I've went through this. So the first one is just my goals for the year, and for the most part I think I am sticking to these, but it's basically just all the goals that I set at the start of the year. Then I've got my 26 for 2026. Not doing so well on this, and some of these I probably will be kicking off that list, so pretty sure I won't be meeting my 26 for 2026, but these are the books that I wanted to read at the start of the year. Then I've got my anticipated releases, so any of the books that I was excited about coming out this year. A series tracker, which again, not doing too great on some of them, and I do have space for one more. I may put this as the Gilded Wolves series by Roshani Chokshi because I do want to binge those over the next few months. I then have all the Tulips and Tales picks, so all of the books that we've picked for that, basically just documenting them all here. I then have a Hall of Fame, so basically just all of my favourite books, I'm putting them in here. I do need to do June's, I need to print that off, but I need to wait until I have enough pictures to print off so that I'm not wasting the printer paper. But this is basically just all my favourite books of the month.
then have a 5-star reading tracker, and I just remembered I need to fill that in again, but I have plenty of space here, so optimistic that I'll get a few more 5 stars over this year. Then I have a spread for some highlights of the year, and again I'll fill that in at the end of the year, as well as my reading stats. And then it gets into the monthly spread. So start of the year started off very dark because it's obviously winter, so I do try and stick the theme to the season. I've got January here, and I do keep my spreads pretty simple, so I've just got my priority TBR, any of the books that I'm reading out of my 26 for 2026, and then the goals that I have. Then I'll have my reading log, the 3 best books of the month, and then just my reading stats for that month as well. And it's basically the same theme for each month. I just change up the colour scheme. Again, because it was February, that's still technically winter, so it's a little dark, but I did add in some pink just because it's the month of love. And then that just continues. Obviously you can see it gets a little bit brighter as we come into March and some of those more spring seasons, but the format's exactly the same. I don't really change it up too much because if I had it too complicated, it would be even worse in terms of me keeping up to date with this one. So I just keep the scheme kind of pretty much the same, keep it pretty simple to keep updated, as I say, with the hope that that would entice me to stay up to date with this and actually get a full year done. But this was the last spread that I done, so I got up to May. So this morning I did work through the last couple of spreads for May. Then you'll have seen I just completed the June spread when I was sitting down. So went for a bit of a green theme, a bit of a floral theme, again just because it's coming into those summer months. And as I say, the format stayed exactly the same. So that's me up until June. Hopefully I'll be able to update the rest of them maybe next week and get up to date with August so that I'm fully up to date in the reading journal. And as I say, my main goal is to try and complete this one this year because I haven't quite done that yet. But yeah, really happy with the progress. Only a couple of months to update on, so hopefully I'll get that done over the next week.
Okay, so that's it. That's everything. I hope you've enjoyed this bookish vlog. I know we didn't probably do much, but we done a bit of shopping, we done a bit of unhauling. We did haul some books from that book shopping as well. Refreshed the TBR cart and slowly but surely getting up there with the reading journal. I do need to be better with keeping on top of that, but hopefully if I can get myself up to date now, I'll keep on top of that over the next few months and finally complete a reading journal for 1 year. I haven't quite done it yet. I got really close last year, but this year I'm really hoping I'll do a complete year of a reading journal, and it'll just feel so satisfying if I'm able to do that. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if there's any other bookish things you want me to be doing in these videos, anything you'd like to come along with, and also let me know what you kind of do for your bookish days, or any bookish things you're doing recently. Have you been rearranging your shelves, buying more books, unhauling books? Let me know everything in the comments below. But if you don't have anything to comment, just put a little book emoji to let me know you've got to the end. If you like this video, do remember to give it a like, and if you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe. I post 2 videos per week and it's videos like this, so bookish videos, book shopping, TBR jars, all good bookish things like that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye!